Hey guys, it's me, Natalie Herman. We're back with the last vlog ever. We are going to be talking about Pregnant Butch, 9 long months spent in drag by A.K. Summers. I chose to talk about a panel on page 43. Is this picture. I'm focusing on these two, but mostly this one. Okay, so basically what's happening here is they're at a party with their friends and Teak has been outed as pregnant. I thought it was so in the panel before the panel, I really want to focus on this one. She says, "I've been outed." I thought this was interesting to use to describe being pregnant and describe telling. I feel like usually there's all these gender reveal parties people want. There's always a positive connotation around being pregnant, and to use being outed, I feel like that's being outed is not really a good thing. I feel like there's definitely a negative connotation around it, and to use it to describe being pregnant is kind of strange to me. I feel like I think it obviously pregnancy changes your life, but I think for her it changes her life even more, because suddenly she has to pass for 9 months, like we talked about in class. And this kind of leads you to the question, is passing a good thing or a bad thing? And I think, in the chapter, I guess the chapter title is actually called Coming Out. So it's kind of I feel like coming out is, a really big, for, a gay or, I mean, I wouldn't know, but, I feel like for a gay or lesbian person, that's, a really big phase in their life. And obviously, maybe that's a parallel. Being pregnant is obviously, a really big phase in someone's life. So moving on to the actual panel that I want to discuss. It's right next to the one I was just discussing. It's right here. And so basically in this panel, we see Teak at the center of it. And she's being bombarded by various questions such as hormones, clinic, donor or anonymous, sex or no sex, and much more. What really struck me about the questions was that for the majority of the questions, they are all centered around a man. They're male dominated. Sperm or no sperm? Is he going to be involved? Was there a donor? Did you go to the clinic? Do you know the donor? Do I know the donor? This was interesting because Teak and V are definitely going to be the main, it's obvious they are going to be the main parents to this child. The known donor won't really, have as much say in the child's life as the two of them will. They're going to be co-parenting this child. I feel like this is more of a systematic societal issue than it is solely Teak's issue. I feel like it's really hard to make this kind of claim and stand behind it because it's such a huge claim, but I feel like it's definitely easier for society to see a man and a woman pregnant than it is to see two women pregnant. It, biologically, it makes it, on paper, it makes more sense, and I think, that's where the majority of Teak's issues come from. Also, about this panel, we see Teak, this person next to Teak, who I'm not sure if it's a man or a butch woman. I'm assuming in the context it's a butch woman. She's touching Teak's stomach. This is really interesting to me. I feel like when people are pregnant, it kind of just gives, I feel like people are always touching their stomach. And I feel like if I was ever pregnant and some random stranger came up to me and touched my stomach, I'd punch them in the face. And, especially, these are, her friends, obviously, but, they're, I don't know, these are, a lot of questions, and, I feel like that's kind of, it's all, she obviously didn't consent to be touched, and I feel like that's a really big problem surrounding pregnancy, because pregnant people assume that pregnant women want to be touched, and they decide that they're allowed to touch them solely because they are carrying another person. One other thing that struck me about the panel was that it says, "Why you?" right here. Teak has mentioned before in the graphic novel that people were surprised that her femme partner, V, wasn't the one carrying the baby, that the butch in the relationship was the one, and I think, that's, kind of, an underlying struggle for her, and that kind of leads me to believe that these questions, are kind of, some of her biggest insecurities about being pregnant. I'm sure some of them were actually asked, but, she definitely included them in her memoir for a reason. And, yeah, I think that reason is because they're some of her biggest insecurities. that is all I have to say about that. Goodbye forever.